Today we're going to talk about humility and arrogance. Now, a lot of us like to be humble. And in that, what we do is we sometimes underperform, we underplay, because somewhere we are so fearful of becoming arrogant. But is that the right way to live your life? And that's what we're going to talk about. That so many of us, are scared of being rude, rough, or arrogant with people in various aspects of our life. And then we do not realize, but at the subconscious level, we sabotage a lot of opportunities that come our way that can actually put us in an enviable position, that can put us somewhere in a place where where we can thrive and be successful. But then we sabotage it because we feel scared that we'll become arrogant. It's like I know so many people who actually sabotage opportunities where they could get extra money and extra wealth in their work. But they refrain from this kind of financial affluence, material affluence, or this prosperity and abundance. Because they fear somewhere that if they become that successful, they will become arrogant. And what they do is then they underplay and they underperform. So are you one of them? Or sometimes, in your relationship, so in your past relationship, maybe somebody told you that when you express yourself, you're very rude, you sound very arrogant about the way you express things. And that kind of keeps working and lingering in your system. And in your current relationships, maybe you're very fearful to actually communicate your true feelings, because then you again feel that maybe if I'm expressing my true self and my true emotions, people can perceive me as being arrogant. And then what we do is we build a wall, we kind of curtail ourselves from expressing ourselves, and we wall up. But that somewhere disturbs the equilibrium of the relationship, and it is very emotionally actually more disturbing to have that kind of relationship. So today we're going to understand and see how we can work with all of this. So the first is we'll work with the R5 technique of working with the fear of being rude, rough, or arrogant. The second is we are going to work with the guilt of being arrogant in the past. So if any of us have that guilt of being arrogant in the past, we are so careful because we don't want to repeat that in the present or in the future. So we then work with IR5, my guilt of being arrogant in the past. Some of us can also have this guilt of being very authoritative in the past. And then somewhere we open up to receive the reversal of the experience. So we work with that guilt too. The third is we work with the beliefs that we somewhere have witnessed or borrowed about arrogance and success in our life. Now, let me give you an example. For example, when you were growing up, you witnessed a person who was maybe very close to you or in your own family who was very affluent. And you saw that person, because of the affluence and a lot of money, was very, very arrogant. And people somewhere judged him, criticized him, or said, or somewhere he got isolated because of that arrogance. So what happens is that in the subconscious, you associate arrogance with success. And now you don't want to be arrogant because it has such adverse associations and adverse altercations that you then don't want to be arrogant. But when you reject, what you don't realize is you reject even the success. You reject the popularity, you reject the recognition because of this belief. And this belief could happen because you witnessed it, or it could be borrowed from your parents and your mother or your father or your grandparents would have told you stories of how successful people are very arrogant. And there triggers that fear that you do not want to be like that one day. And that's how, and the first step to work with that belief is you have to disassociate arrogance with success. Like if you have this, or arrogance with having a lot of wealth. And then you do a kind of future projection that we teach in Radical, where somewhere you begin to understand and begin to project that you can be humble and more humble as you financially thrive in life. And then when you become aware, you realize that it's interesting how money is the biggest maya. It's an illusion. It can come to you and it can go from you at any given point. And then you realize that you are arrogant because of the illusionary presence of money in your life. And when you understand that, at least in this aspect, you stop being arrogant. So let's dive deeper into understanding arrogance and success stories. So we have two kinds of success stories. The first is a success story because of the overcompensation of failures in your past. And second is success stories in alignment with your life plan. So in Radical, I've always shared that we all have a life plan, and then things in alignment are the most meaningful. So arrogance, when it is a result of, it is basically a result of hollow success stories, which arises out of either avoidance of failures or overcompensation of failures or possibility of future failures. That's when you feel that arrogance or feel that fear of arrogance going to come up. If you are doing what you're doing as per your life plan, then you will never feel arrogant. So how do we solve this is by working with our resistance of accepting failure. That is number one. When we work with that resistance. And second is to work then with your guilt and regret or all your frustrations of your past failures so that we neutralize it. So that when you're trying to succeed in life, it's not arising out of the avoidance or trying to overcompensate. But it is coming from the space that you are meant to thrive and succeed in life and you deserve it. There's a difference in the intent when you are penning down a success story for yourself and you start walking that journey. So check your intent. Where is and what is the intent behind you wanting to be successful in life? And you will understand exactly whether you would feel humble about it or you would feel arrogant about it. Because when people achieve things which are meant in an alignment with their life plan, they naturally never feel arrogant and they feel humble. I'm going to tell you a very interesting metaphor and explain this concept of where for some of us this fear of arrogance is there in our entire being. So every car has a brake and an accelerator. The brake somewhere is given actually to help speed and not really interrupt. And the brake somewhere prevents you, or it's like a safety check that prevents you from over destroying things as you move on. Now similarly, when we come to this planet, we are also given the same mechanism. We are also given brakes. But when we are doing things that we are meant to do, if we are moving in the direction that we are meant to move, and if we are aligned to our life plan, then these breaks are not really active. Then you need very few breaks in your life. This programming of fear of arrogance is given to us only when, and it becomes active only when we are not doing what we are meant to do. And that break somewhere helps us come back and prevents us on going on an overdrive and doing things that we are not really meant to do. So it somewhere actually helps us and brings us back to check and tells us it's important for us to remain humble because of the awareness that we are merely playing a role play as per the higher universal plan. And even that, in that role play, all the success, the recognition, the fame, everything is also somewhere at a greater level pre-planned for us. And so it is because of that mere playing the role, we are being blessed with all of this. So if someone gets this awareness, which is the true awareness of life, then the person would never ever feel arrogant. Because the whole picture of life and the drama of life and the role play comes to so much of awareness. And all that you can feel and be in your life is gratitude and feel humble just for being blessed with so many things in life. So let us all today align to what we are meant to do and then not have that kind of fear and let all the opportunities that are meant for us to help us thrive and become successful just flow into our lives.